Okay, welcome everyone. I think we can start. I hope the font size is large enough. It should be 240. Okay, so welcome everyone on today's Metal3 Community meeting. My name is Adam Brosman and I will be your host today. Today is the 8th of July 2026 and we can skip the introductions. There are no new participants in the meeting. And we can continue with the reminders. Please remember that the meeting is recorded and it will be uploaded to YouTube, to the channel of the project. If you would like to help the project with contributions or you would like to bring our attention to an issue, then please create GitHub issues in the relevant repositories and add the help wanted label and any other suitable labels for the issue so we can better sort them. That way you would help us greatly. If you feel your organization would be okay to publicly disclose the adoption of Metal3, then please do so by pushing a pull request to the adopters.md of the community repository under the larger Metal3 bio project and edit this edit this adopters.md file same way as the others have done before you. If you have experienced CI problems, meaning that your tests or image builds or PR tests or periodic tests you are tracking have been failing, then please create a issue in the relevant repo and link that issue to the Metal3 CI tracker on the issue UI under the projects tab. And that way we can better track those issues. I don't really see these the issues under this view increasing in number a lot, although we had quite a few CI problems, but I guess those have been sorted out or communicated well enough on the Slack channel. If you are interested about any other deliverables or documentation, please feel free to follow the links here or on the main page of the project. And I have also added a few new links because I think these are kind of live in the background or not many people know about these. That we indeed have an ongoing effort to have our own Jenkins separate from the Open Infra Europe or Nordics Jenkins, where we would have all our jobs separate from any other external influence, because in the Nordics Jenkins we have to share the space, have to share the Jenkins server with other projects, other open source projects. But in this new Jenkins, it will be just for us and it will be maintained by our community, and the whole infrastructure code will be in project infra eventually, same way as we have Prao there. And the other bits of information is that now at least the first pull request of our headlamp plugin, so basically our official UI, I guess, has been merged, and then the second one is under review. So I linked here the location where the plugin will live. And then that's thanks to this LFX mentorship program. And then I also added a permanent reminder, and I will fill out the blanks with the links about the fact that we actually have in-house test tools that have been developed by this community for the purposes of testing Ironic, testing our core components, testing scalability with Capi, with Metal3, and so on. So feel free to take a look. I just remembered because I got some good news from a contributor who, according to his own admission, used fake IPA on Mac to develop so or to work on MetaCube development. So that sounded very cool. Okay, so that's the general info and some updates that I wanted to add here. Is there any questions, comments related to these new permanent reminders? Let me check the chat. Okay, I see. Fake IP as a product when I don't know. I don't know what product it would be. Yeah. But anyways, jokes aside, yeah, I see there are no other questions. So we can continue with the community working groups. I don't really see any topics here. I haven't noticed any development lately related to either of these. Maybe other than I think the scalability tests have been fixed a few times and they should work now, but I haven't checked. And then the artifact cleanup supposed to be working now, so I guess everything is fine with the working groups. Okay. Yeah, as I said, the mentorship is ongoing, so that's also not that there are also no any new news. Yep, I think we can continue with the release team and the roadmap. The link now works as I said last time, so you can check the timetable. One thing I have to confirm with the release team is whether we want to do some patch releases in the near future, but there are no pressing reason to do that. Just I was thinking today. And any questions, comments related to working groups, release team, roadmap, anything? I guess not. Okay, then discussion topics. I don't have any. I have enough stuff to work on, and I don't really want to promise anything. Anyone, any topic you would like to bring up? Any questions and any requests? Any problems you have faced recently, other than the Jenkins falling apart Monday and Tuesday?
I just put a thing there. I didn't really want to bring it up just yet. But since we have nothing to discuss, I'm trying to do a pretty ambitious thing that I would love to see many more eyes on, because it's quite a bit of a paradigm shift if it gets approved here. It's essentially it's trying to get us out of the annotation hell, and that's a step with rethinking how reboots work, how servicing works, and also fixes a kind of a long-standing unpleasantly where changing user data required a bit of a dance to trigger the reboot. Not sure we can take a whole look here right now, but essentially it creates a new resource. Yes, yet another one that acts as an operation, and every resource is a one operation that has its status and gets executed initially by the BMH controller. I have even more ambitious goals to eventually split controllers. That's next step. And yeah, you can check an example. I believe I have an example down below a bit. Not even example, just a complete like how it can look. It's not going to have all three operations at the same time, just to be clear, but I'm providing it for an example. Take a look, let me know what you think. Let me know, especially if you see any issues with that. I try to provide pretty detailed motivation of why I think this is a good step forward. but I'm also not super experienced with Kubernetes API. I guess I should stop saying that because I've been doing it for years now. But anyway, I somehow don't feel experienced in Kubernetes APIs. And that's the idea here.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I understand your motivation because we have kind of these interesting implicit and explicit actions that has to be mixed to make something happen. Like we have annotations for reinspection, but if you add an image, then it starts provisioning, uh, and then like we don't really have like a good kind of joystick or a command prompt or anything in our hands to directly control the operations. Everything just happens if you set a certain combination of values and stuff. So I feel your pain if that was your motivation, so that we don't have all these random rules, or I don't know how to say, like just random triggers everywhere. Some in annotation, some in a combination of specs and whatnot.
Yeah, a lot of stuff is very implicit. It's very hard, for example, to check what went wrong. For example, in trigger servicing, you use reboot for that, which is already a problem for us because we discovered that BMC upgrades don't always need reboot. So that's unnecessary downtime. But also, sometimes, for example, there's a race or host update policy prevents servicing, and you just don't know. The host reboots and does just nothing. Nothing happens without digging into logs. You don't even understand why servicing did not happen. So that's a big. These two issues with mandatory reboot and with no insight into why it failed are primary motivation for me. But also, yes, what you said, a lot of implicit triggers for things. And I guess an interesting design question here, which I just realized looking at my own example, is whether we want one customer source, like host operation here, or we want a customer source per operation, like reboot operation, service operation, rebuild operation in this case, in the future, maybe inspect operation. I don't know. Something to think about. Please provide feedback on what you think is better. More resources, of course, more maintenance, but maybe it's clear the API. I don't know.
And just a quick question: do you expect the actual bare metal host controller to create those operations as well when it triggers an inspection or something?
I did not envision initially auto-created operations for things like provisioning or inspection, although I can see how you come to this conclusion, to be honest. Maybe not as part of this design for sure. I think we need to take the first step before we take the next. Possibly. I mean, I possibly. Yeah, we can start a discussion. Maybe not blocking this design. Although if you see any problems with the design that will prevent this future use case, definitely voice them.
Yeah, for me, my concern is that yeah, I have to read this first, but when I look at this, I'm just wondering that how much parameterization should we have here in this? Because for me, it would be cleaner if this would be just a trigger, a clean trigger, and then still what we have on the spec of the BMH yeah, on the BMH spec, that would matter. Like that, there would be the parameters, and here it would be just triggers. So what I mean is, like, I see service must reboot, false or not false. For me, there is already like disable power off and these things that could live in the spec. I just wonder that is it a good idea to add parameters here too, other than just triggers? Because adding triggers and timeouts and things like that sounds reasonable to me, but I'm a bit wary of adding like parameters here.
These are properties of operation, not of the host, right? If you take the simplest example with rebooting, soft and hard reboot are by no means any properties of bare metal host. Most bare metal hosts can do both, all of them, essentially, right? It's a property of your desire for this operation. Here's the motivation for master boot. I think I put it in the spec somewhere, is some people want to have servicing as fast as possible. And if it's possible to avoid rebooting, please do. Some people combine software reboots with hardware, software upgrades with firmware upgrades. So they schedule a software upgrade and then they go into this mode and say must reboot true because there is expectation that rebooting always happens. This must reboot is also required for compatibility code. You will find it also in the spec, but I want to deprecate the reboot annotation, at least partly, and the reboot annotation currently conflates rebooting itself and servicing. So I cannot replace reboot annotation as it exists today with just reboot operation as it's proposed here, because it invokes servicing. So the current reboot annotation is servicing with must reboot true semantically. And that's another reason why this flag exists here, to be able to do this transition from reboot annotation to operations. Rebuild, I also can check why rebuild has this flag here. Let me know if you follow this reasoning or not. But essentially, it creates two different kind of rebuilds, and I'm happy to just split them into two different operations if you wish. No strong opinion here, but essentially rebuild with cleaning and without cleaning and two quite subtly different operations. Check the spec. I am trying to explain it all there.
Okay.
Mohammed? Have your hands up.
Yes. So I wanted to ask, I haven't read it yet, but what will happen to this resource once the operation is done, whatever trigger is doing? We have to delete it, or it's...
Yeah, if you check in the middle of your screen, there's like TTL seconds after finished, which is replicated from Kubernetes jobs. Essentially, the controller is going to garbage collect it eventually, or humans can delete it.
Okay. Then the status and conditions, are they useful if this resource will go away once it's exceeded? Or
If it eventually goes away, it goes away. Yeah, it's the same situation as with Kubernetes jobs, right? You can technically put this -1 here and say it's never collected and collect yourself. So there may be different scenarios here depending on who's using this resource. For example, if a human does this, a human may take 1 day, put here 1 day to make a note to check by the evening, right? An automation can put here something different, or maybe even -1 and clean up itself. There are variations which I don't think we can predict reasonably, but I also think that not collecting them by default is probably a poor idea.
Yep. Okay, I think that answers my question. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. It makes sense to me. It's a good step, or it's a like, how to say, like a concrete step to a better direction. I can see benefit even on like state transition specific CRs, like nice host operation, but there could be like inspect operation, deploy operation, as you said, because these are all operations that temporarily, like, has a temporary effect, while that single instance of operation is happening. And even for modifying spec fields temporarily, just for the time being of, let's say, an inspection, could come handy in the future. So you don't have to edit the BMH itself. You have your default specs there, and then for the time of the operation, you can't change it with this logic that you have here, because what we call host, or you call host operations here, is basically stuff that we can, or stuff that's usually called on a provision machine, right? Like these day two operations, like I have to reboot it for some reason, or I have to put it under servicing for some reason, but it's a machine that's already provisioned.
Yeah, I focused on day two for now.
Yeah.
Just again, to limit the scope, not because I don't think it's useful to do for day one, it just, this spec is already large. So for the same reason, I'm excluding host claims here, although I'm thinking about that we have a mirror resource eventually. But again, thinking about host claims make everything 10 times more difficult.
Yeah, of course. And it absolutely makes sense that you focused on this, because these live in annotations nowadays, right? So most of these are existing annotations, like the soft hard reboot, or the or the servicing, I guess.
Yeah, service is completely implicit in rebooting, which
Yeah.
is even worse if you think about it.
Yeah, okay. It's very interesting, and it on the first glance it makes sense, but I think this will require quite a lot of people to go through it. I would not rush it. I don't know if you have some expected delivery date for this, or it's just for the future, or like, what is your timeline with this?
I kind of have it somewhat pressing. I mean, resolving the servicing situation is a bit of a problem for us. So not tomorrow, but if I could consider it, for example, in July, it would be awesome.
Okay.
So that's not just backlog idea. Actually, I have a need for this.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, then, folks, please take a look. I don't know if I'm even CC'd here. I'm not. I will CC myself. Okay. Okay. Any other questions, comments, anything in the chat? Nope. Okay. I think that was the only proper discussion topic. We can. I don't think we have to check the backlog, because I checked it 2 weeks ago and we had no release or anything, not even patch releases, I believe, since then. So I don't really see much reason to go through these things. Yeah, they are in good shape in general, even if I just quickly have a glance at them. Yeah. Nothing out of the ordinary. Quickly check the image and the IRSO too. 37, 35, 53. Could you please remind me, Dimitri? I don't remember, or Ricardo, or anyone who remembers, what is the oldest supported image version? 35 for Ironic image.
The oldest one, I think, is 34. I should know. I changed it recently. Gosh, it's in the docs anyway.
Yeah, but certainly not 33. I'm just asking so that I don't react.
It's not
to this.
33. I'm pretty sure it's all 34 or 35.
Yeah. Okay. But it generally looks fine. Same here. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we have to spend. Yep.
So the oldest tested is 31, and it looks like 33 is still supported, but I think there was a recent discussion with Tuomo about that. We're keeping that supported even though the upstream bug fix branch is EOL because of I think not IRSO, but because of something else. Because of because of the integration tests anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, 112 use version 33. And 31 is tested because 111 still uses version 31. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. But generally, these look okay. There are not too many pull requests for the other ones. Okay. Is there anything else we should discuss? And any matter that you would like to bring up, anyone? Okay. If not, then thanks for joining today. Today is a shorter meeting. Was a shorter meeting, but I think it was worth it to learn about this RFE, this ambitious RFE. Okay, yeah. So until next week, thank you and have a great weekend, and thank you for joining this week, and see you next week. Yeah, bye bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bye.
bye.